Hello, y'all. Welcome back to another episode of Sick I Swear. I am your host, Caitlin Rohde. And first of all, whether you're listening in the car, on a walk, doing the dishes, laid up in bed, in the hospital, whatever it is that you're doing, genuinely thank you for being here and being a part of these conversations. Nonetheless, we have Alli Rose. She's a POTS, endometriosis, and Graves girly. She was going to school for art education, wanted to be an art teacher when her illnesses kind of derailed her into content creation. To start off, I kind of like to go through diagnosis and a little bit of your health journey to kind of get us an idea of who you are and how this all came about.
Yeah, so I've kind of just been like weirdly sick my entire life. As a kid, I was always getting some kind of cold or stomach bug. My immune system was just not the best. I had like all these like food allergies. I think I was allergic to grass when I was little. Like I would go
Oh,
out, play in the grass, and like be itchy.
brutal.
I don't know, I was just like weirdly sick all the time. And I would just like pass out randomly, like as a kid. They just thought I would grow out of it, or I was just, playing too hard or something. They were like, yeah, she's fine. Because, as a kid, you just kind of are resilient.
You don't know what's going on. You can't
Right.
properly vocalize what you think is going on, and you have no idea what's normal and what's not, too.
Right, exactly. And so they were just like, well, she's okay. Like, because I would pass out and just pop right back up, act like nothing happened. And then I think when I was 12, I started getting really bad periods. And I had them until I was about 19, was when I was like, you know what, this is getting much worse. I decided to go to the doctor and, we tried birth control. I was actually in menopause at 19, like chemically.
What?
Yeah, so they gave me this pill. It was called Orlissa. And
No. Okay, I've been on that too.
yeah, and basically like it kind of puts you in like chemical menopause.
Is that what it does? They didn't tell me it did that.
Yeah, that's what they told me. So,
Interesting. Okay, so that was for your really bad periods,
right.
but not anything like endo related
Yeah,
at
that
that
was before
point.
I got diagnosed with endo
Okay.
because they weren't sure yet, which Orlissa did nothing for me. Like I still got my period the entire
Same.
time. And so then finally I was like, hey, nothing's working. And so they did the diagnostic lab for endo. They found it on, I think, on my fallopian tube
Okay.
and then in my pelvic cavity.
Did you do the excision surgery then? Were they able to clear it up?
I don't remember if it was the excision or if it was a different kind. I just know I felt a lot better afterwards.
Okay.
But they did remove it somehow. I don't know if it was like the lasers or the incision. It was a while
Okay.
ago.
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to think. Yeah, after that, I felt great. Like the surgery cleared up for me for about 6 months. Like I had like no pain. I'm trying to remember the timeline here.
I know it at a point everything just kind of runs together and
Yeah.
you cannot figure. Yes, I totally get that.
Yeah. At that point, I think I was only passing out on my period, which I thought was because of the endometriosis.
Okay.
Like 6 to 8 months later, I started passing out like not on my period. And I was like, this is odd. And I started having like more tachycardia, more chest pain, and I went to the doctor. Oh, did I say my diagnoses at the beginning? I don't think I did.
No, but you can now or whatever
Okay.
or whenever.
Okay. So I have POTS, endometriosis, and Graves' disease. Those are my
Your
big three
three.
diagnoses. Yeah. And so I was passing out randomly. I had like tachycardia, chest pain. My primary at the time, we did a bunch of testing, blood work. We couldn't figure out what was going on. Eventually, she sent me to the cardiologist. I remember being in the cardiologist office, and the nurses were like, looking at my blood pressure and my heart rate. And they were like, what do you got going on? You have the weirdest heart rate ever. And I was like, I don't know. I thought this was normal.
Right.
And so then I got diagnosed with POTS. They did like the tilt table test. I would say about 6 months after my POTS diagnosis, it started getting much worse. I had to stop driving. I couldn't work. I had to like move out of my apartment. We had no idea why. Like it just randomly got worse.
Your POTS specifically.
Yeah. My POTS symptoms is what we thought it was. 6 months after that, we finally realized that my thyroid was messed up.
Oh.
And I was like, great, more stuff going on.
How did they
Um,
not figure that out right away?
I don't know because I went back and checked my blood work from when I first got diagnosed with POTS. My thyroid was like borderline. So it was like not enough to
Be concerned at that point.
yeah, they were like, well, this is weird, but it's not anything unusual.
Yeah.
Which being borderline kind of still gives you symptoms, which is probably why my POTS got worse in that moment. Yeah, like I remember I lost a bunch of weight. My tachycardia got so much worse. And then, they'd finally check my thyroid. Originally, they misdiagnosed me with hypothyroidism, which is like Hashimoto's. Luckily, like we caught it and they were like, no, no, you actually have hyperthyroidism. So, like an overactive thyroid.
So was that causing your pot symptoms to be worse then? Okay.
Yeah. Because, like, POTS and Graves' disease both affect your heart, like, in different ways.
Symptomatically, your heart is
Right.
affected. Yeah.
Graves' disease, like, it directly affects your heart, so it can cause, like, arrhythmias and stuff.
Okay.
But POTS is just kind of, like, indirectly affecting your heart, more of, like, a nervous system thing. Finally, like, I think I had, like, an ER trip where my heart rate just wouldn't go down. They had to give me adenosine, which is not fun. Oh,
What is that?
it's to check to see if you have SVT
What is
or like
that?
supraventricular tachycardia.
Do we know how that's different than POTS? I don't know. I've never heard of this.
I know it's just like the way that your heart beats. It's like the top part is beating more
Okay.
than the bottom or something. I'm not sure. I don't think I
There's a
had it.
disconnect.
Right. Yeah, like I think it's some kind of arrhythmia or
Okay.
something. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah.
I don't think I had SVT because they like administered the drug to see if I had it and then I didn't, so I was good. But it was a weird experience for sure.
The drug.
Yeah.
What does it do?
They put it in your IV and then for 4 seconds it like restarts your heart. That's what they told me it did. They were like, oh, it's gonna restart your heart. I don't know. It feels like you're going over a roller coaster for like 4 seconds.
No doctor here.
I don't know either. I'm just like,
Yeah.
that's what they told me it was going on. They got me into a endocrinologist really soon after that. And then I started taking a medication for my Graves' disease and that made it a ton better. It was called methimazole. And then it's just kind of been like a roller coaster ever since of like my thyroid being overactive and then underactive and then in the middle and then
Do you feel like it's managed at this point, or is it, I mean, obviously chronic illness is it's different day to day, but do you feel like overall you have a pretty good sense of managing, or at least what to do for managing?
I think so. I think I do feel like I'm getting better really slowly.
So for Graves' disease, what exactly are the symptoms other than heart?
So I think other symptoms are like weight loss, like specifically like muscle loss, because your thyroid is like sped up, so your metabolism speeds up. You just burn more calories at rest. I experienced a lot of like muscle aches and like joint aches from it. I experienced a lot of migraines from it because it's kind of hard to like know which one's which at this point.
Do you get brain fog too?
I do get brain fog,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's like one
Um,
of the worst.
I experienced a lot of emotional symptoms from Graves' disease personally
Oh, okay.
because it when you have a hormonal disorder, it can really impact your mood. Someone told me the other day that the hormone levels of someone with Graves' disease, like when they're in hyperthyroidism, is similar to someone that's pregnant. Like a lot of irritability, like I just get really irritated, a lot of anxiety. I have like a lot of like skin issues from I don't see I'm not sure which one if I'm just having like skin
Yeah,
issues from my eczema. It's just something I've never experienced before. It's just very odd. Like I get low grade fevers. I just kind of feel like I have the flu all the time.
damn. So just kind of run down. And do you like chronic fatigue?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a fun one. Okay, so you post your journey online. Was there a moment where you're like, okay, I need to share my journey. I want to get this out. I want to spread more awareness.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I lost my job when I got sick and I moved back in with my family. And when I got sick, I was 21. So I was like, going to school and working part time and trying to be, trying to graduate college. And so I was kind of just stuck at home. I was just kind of bored. And I was like, well, I'll just make some TikToks. And then one of my TikToks about having POTS really blew up. It got like 2 million views or something.
Oh, shit.
I had a bunch of people just asking me about POTS, like what kind of symptoms I had. This was back in like early 2024. Just a bunch of people like DMing me and being like, "How did you get diagnosed? I have these symptoms. Like I'm struggling." And so I was just making a bunch of videos like answering all these people's questions and getting some followers. Then I started having like a lot of mutuals with the same diagnoses as me, and I was like, there's like a whole community on TikTok of people who have the exact same issues I do. Like, I don't feel so alone. I feel like I'm helping people, but I'm also helping myself figure this stuff out. And it just kind of went from there. And now I do it pretty much full time.
I mean, I feel like a lot of people find that social media is a good way to try to create that source of income because it's so hard to hold a full-time job and because we're all over the place with how we feel. And so with social media, it's, you're your own boss.
Yeah, that's one of the benefits for me was like I can post as much or as little as I want.
Hmm.
I don't have like even when I work with brands, like most of the time they're very lenient about me being sick or anything. I would love for this to be like my career.
Yeah.
It's so fun. It's just it is a lot of work, especially if you're sick.
Dude, it is so much work to put content out.
Absolutely. Yeah, like people are like, well, social media is so easy,
No,
like
it's not.
you just post it. It's like it's easy if you're like already famous.
Yeah, yep. Because you have like a huge team behind you. Like you're doing this yourself
Exactly.
until hopefully you can have more help with it. What were you going to school for?
I was going for art education, so I'm gonna be an art teacher.
Oh my God. How far did you get? Did you graduate?
No, I did not. I had to drop out because of my health issues.
How was that emotionally?
It was really hard because, it was scary too because I was like, well, what am I going to do with my future? Even if I got better, I don't think I could, handle being a teacher. That's a lot of physical work.
And you have to show up. It's a lot of time like where you have to show up. It's not necessarily a flexible job that can accommodate your illness.
Right, exactly. I worked at a daycare because I love working with kids. And then I was like a paraeducator, and then I worked like I did like lunch duty and stuff like that. And it's just like a lot of walking. It's physically hard on your body. And I was like, well, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I can't finish my degree. In some ways, I am grateful, I think, for being sick at that age because now what I'm doing is much more making me much more happy than before. This is like my niche. I think I like
Yeah.
weirdly figured it out.
Unfortunately, fortunately, like
Right. Yeah.
I feel that
Exactly.
too. Because my life was complete. I was a cosmetologist prior to getting sick, and I loved it, but I wasn't like obsessed with it. But it kind of, yeah, life kind of brings you in weird circles and shoots you onto the right track that you're supposed to be on. So we just gotta trust in it, and I think it's a
Yeah.
really important thing that we're doing.
I've met so many really nice people on social media.
Hmm.
Some like are my really good friends. And unfortunately they're all across the country.
I know, but like that's kind of nice in a sense of if you're able to travel or whatever,
Yeah.
there's a place to go.
Oh, I would love to go travel and see some of my friends one day.
Yeah.
One of my goals.
Do you feel like you're not at a point where you're able to travel?
I can like ride in a car, but
Okay.
I don't think I do want to see if I can get on a plane one day, but I just feel like that would make me feel sick.
I'm a huge traveler. Like that has always been something that I've loved. And
Hmm.
since getting diagnosed with POTS, that was like a big thing that I was terrified of doing. I felt like I had to build up a tolerance, no lie. Like the first couple times I was flying, I was literally in the bathroom, like, paper bag, like breathing into a paper bag, like
Hmm.
trying to regulate. And I was like tipping back electrolytes, like it was my job. But I feel like I don't know if I've just gained tolerance or I have been feeling a little bit better. I don't know, but I'm definitely grateful that I've been able to get to that place. But I feel you on that. Like it is a scary territory to step into without knowing how your body's going to react.
Yeah, absolutely. And for me, even just kind of like riding in the car makes me sick sometimes.
Yeah, I have to be, for the most part, like in the front seat, probably popping over. And traveling is hard, but I don't know. That was part of my identity, and I didn't want chronic illness to be able
Hmm.
to take part of that from me. So I, in a way, kind of like pushed myself to do it because it is something that was such a big part of my life prior. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's some things where I'm like, I'm okay with experiencing the consequences of my
Hmm.
chronic illness for this. It's like,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
I think people that are ill don't understand that, like, when your body doesn't work, like, you physically can't do things. Like, you can't push through it. They think when you're sick, it's just like a cold. It's like, oh, I can go to work when I have a cold. That's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
Your body is malfunctioning. You cannot function correctly
Hmm.
when it's happening like that.
Hmm.
And a lot of people don't understand that. I think if you haven't gone through it really is something like if you haven't gone through it, you're just not going to understand it.
Yeah.
I can't just push through it and go drive a car. It's like my life could be in danger, you know.
Yeah.
I do have consequences if I do certain things. And that's something that they just don't understand.
For us, when we get a cold, it's the cold on top of getting hit by like 13 semis. Like it's just,
Right.
it's different. And it takes a lot longer to recover. And usually our symptoms are worse.
Yeah.
But also, like our baseline feels like a flu a lot of the time. And we just
Right.
like build up this tolerance or ability to just push through the day because this is our normal. And I think that is something that is really hard for people to wrap their head around. And as more people are talking about it, hopefully it becomes more normalized.
Yeah, I think it's also important for non-chronically ill people to like listen to people who are chronically ill because that's gonna be them one day. Like they're going to get sick at one day or another. Like it might as
Yup.
well educate yourself on it now and understand now.
Like we never thought it was going to happen to us, and
Right,
it just
exactly.
happened. And disability is one of the most universal experiences, whether it's going to be
Mhm.
you or somebody that you love, or if you make it to the grand old age of whatever it is that you become more disabled and chronically ill. I think everyone's going to experience it firsthand in some sort of capacity, and I think that that's something that people don't
Yeah. I
really
think I saw a
realize.
statistic the other day that was like over 90% of people over the age of 65 will become disabled or something like that.
That sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah, like it was like that's like everybody.
You also had a video about how ableism affects everyone. Can you explain
Mhm.
that more?
Disability is one of the only marginalized groups that everyone is going to join at some point or another.
Hmm.
You know, systematic ableism, I think it's like for example, the curb cut theory. Have you heard of that?
No, explain.
So like you know how curbs have that little ramp on them, right?
Yeah.
That goes onto the sidewalk from the road. That was originally made for people with wheelchairs, right? So they could get onto the sidewalk. Well, now people with suitcases, people with strollers, people with like those little rolly things to put packages on, all of those people benefit from that curb cut, right? And
Hmm.
so when we focus on disabled people and their needs, it benefits everybody. Things like free healthcare, things like, you know, better public transportation, better accessibility for public transportation, you know, things that would benefit disabled people benefit everybody. And so when we are excluding disabled people from society, it hurts everybody as well because everyone can become disabled again, but you can even be temporarily disabled. You know, you can get sick and be disabled for a couple months. And so when we focus on helping people with disabilities and when we focus on accessibility, that does help the entire society. And that's what people don't understand. Elevators are another example.
Yeah.
That was made for wheelchair users to get up the
Yeah.
stairs, but it's like everyone loves elevators.
Yeah, especially when you're going up 30 floors. One thing that you talk about online is being sick and gay.
Yeah.
How is it to be a part of like two marginalized communities that society kind of doesn't accept the way that they should?
Well, I think they go together because I think there's a big population of chronically ill people that are also LGBT. It's definitely made my life a lot more challenging, I think, because, you know, being a lesbian, there's really not a lot of queer women around. And so, like, one of the like stereotypes for being gay is like long distance relationships or like traveling a lot to go visit somebody you're dating. And that's very true for me. When you're sick, you can't do a lot of traveling. So, like, that makes it much more harder. You know, I live in a small town in the South.
Where are you at?
I live in Lawrenceburg, Kentucky. I'm like right in between Lexington and Louisville.
You're close as hell.
Yeah,
Okay, if you're ever in Nashville, let a girl know.
absolutely.
South, red, having marginalized communities
Yeah.
that don't necessarily thrive in the South.
So yeah, just being in a small town in the South, there's not a lot of queer people around, and it's like there's not a lot of acceptance around it. And so it just makes dating so much harder than it was before I got really sick. I've had really understanding people when dating, like going on dates and like people being really understanding about my chronic illness, which I think is really good. Again, it makes dating just 10 times more complicated.
It's already hard. Yeah. And
Yeah.
then to add that on, it's, yeah.
I think even just building a community is really hard when you're sick too. Like again, ableism exists and
Mm.
people not understanding your illness. Making friends is hard, dating is hard, just like building any kind of community, building any kind of connections after becoming sick. has been so difficult.
Do you feel like systematic ableism shows up differently being queer and disabled?
I think in a way, but I think in an also a like more positive light, I think queer people are more likely to understand ableism on that level
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of them understand like how being queer affects your life, and I think a lot of them understand that being disabled also like affects your life in that way.
Like
So a lot
just
of them,
perhaps a little bit more empathy
right?
installed
Yeah,
in. Yeah.
yeah. Because I've never dated men before, so I'm not sure how that works.
Dude,
Yeah,
it's a ride, it's a trip. If I could be a lesbian, I would be. Like I really wish. I'm like this close to just saying fuck it and just trying because it's bad.
in that way it is a lot better dating because like people are more understanding about your chronic illness, and it's like I've never had anyone say anything to me that was like ill toward it, like, oh, I don't want to date you because you're sick, you know. It's all the other factors that make it hard. It's like not the people. Like I've had some really nice people, really genuine people that I've dated, but it's like the homophobia and
Mm.
the lack of queer people in my area, and like, yeah, again, just like the circumstances.
What advice would you give to somebody who is experiencing being a part of a marginalized community?
One of the biggest things I've had a hard time coming to terms with lately is like, and I think this is advice to myself too, is like you can't compare yourself to people who aren't in those groups. Is like
Mm.
I compare myself to able-bodied straight people all the time, and like
Yeah.
how their lives are like they're just doing so much better than I am. Like they're getting married and, you know, having kids, and they have a house and they have a career, and I'm like, why am I not there yet? And it's like, oh, I have more obstacles than they do right now.
That's one of the biggest things I talk about in therapy as well. My therapist just says, and I think this is a common phrase, that comparison is the thief of joy.
Hmm.
And that stands true 100% because it's so easy to get lost in the comparison cycle, especially when you don't live the quote unquote normal life that other people are
Yeah,
living, or you want to be somewhere else in life than where you are now. And I think it's just really important to kind of take a step back and bring the lens out and realize that you are exactly where you're supposed to be, regardless of
yeah,
what you think. And I guess that kind of grounds me, but I get lost in that cycle all the damn time too. It's really easy.
absolutely. Yeah, it's like because I always grew up with like if I want something, I'm gonna get it. Like no excuses, you know.
Determined.
Right, exactly. I kind of get down on myself when I can't do something because it's like I've always been able to achieve all my goals. Well, I can't compare myself to other people who don't have these obstacles in the way. And like you said, comparison is a thief of joy. It's like, yeah, even though we're living two different lives, like I can still be happy with where I am now, with, you
Mhm.
know, I feel like I have a lot of pride in being disabled and being gay. You know, I think it's important to recognize that like it is a lot harder, like not in like an internalized ableism way, like, but like it's genuinely there's just more obstacles.
It's just a fact.
Right, yeah.
Do you find yourself doing internal ableism often? Or
Um,
have you gotten good at kind of knocking that out?
I try my best, but I think it's always just kind of there in the back of my mind, you know, like especially it really was hard when I first got sick. I would always tell myself I was lazy because you go from like working 40 hours a week and doing so many to just sitting at home doing nothing, you
Yeah.
know? And I was like, oh my God, I need to be doing something. What's it called? Like toxic productivity.
Yep.
That was a big thing for me was like I was always productive. And then now I just have to sit here and do nothing. And so I was like, well, I'm lazy. I don't do anything. You know, I'm worthless because I can't be productive.
It's so hard when there is such a disconnect from mind to body where your body literally can't. It needs the rest. It needs to be horizontal and your mind
Yeah.
is just stimulated and wants to go and has a million things that, you want to achieve and this, that, and the other thing. And that goes from like just even like household chores. Like you feel
Yeah.
like you just get so behind in things, but it's because your body can't. And I'm still trying to balance it because I do pick and choose to do things that bring me a full life, like hanging out
Yeah.
with friends and traveling and going to concerts. And that absolutely wipes me. And, I think it's really easy for people to see those highlights, like the highlight reels and the fun things
Hmm.
that you do in life, but you have no idea the second you come home, you peel back all that emphasized energy that you had to put into yourself, you peel it back and you're in
Hmm.
bed for 3 days. Like It's it's a really hard it's a mental mind fuck to say the least to mesh your mind and body to be one when they're so opposite.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think what has helped me is realizing that like rest is productive. Like sometimes
Hmm.
I will literally like I will be like, okay, from 2 to 3 p.m., what I'm doing right now is laying down. Like that is what I'm doing because I feel like when someone sees you laying down and being horizontal, they associate that with a lack of productivity,
Hmm.
like not doing something, but when you're laying down, you're doing so much.
Yeah, because as being disabled and chronically ill, the most productive thing you can do is
Lay
rest.
down, yeah. I guess reframing my mindset has helped it a lot. Like I'm not lazy, I'm just strategic,
That's a good
you
way to
know?
put it. Yeah. Yeah, I'm constantly it's on a loop in my head that rest is productive, rest is productive, rest is productive. Like
It's
I'm
so hard to
constantly
grasp.
it is because society, that's not what we're taught, you know?
Yeah.
So it is really hard. If you could go back to prior to getting, I mean, you kind of always felt sick as a kid growing up and stuff, but when it really started, when it was what, 19, you said? If you could go back and tell yourself something pre-sickness, what would you tell yourself?
I think I would tell myself, like, you're not crazy. You're not behind. Your body isn't working right now. Even though, like, because I look at it like 21 being the pivotal point for me of being like
Okay.
non-functional or sorry, being functional versus non-functional. Yeah, I would tell myself, like, you're not lazy. You're not behind. You're not crazy. You're like, you feeling bad. There's a reason why you feel so bad. You don't have to keep pushing yourself this hard, like, because you're not lazy, your body isn't working. I think it's important to focus on your health and your body. Like I really stress to myself, like, please focus on your health right now. Don't worry about college, don't worry about dating, don't worry about impressing people, worry about your body right now.
Focus on yourself.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is the case. Maybe it's a thought, but just to distract yourself with other things to kind of disassociate from what's going on within your
Yeah.
body in a way.
Yeah. I was always busy,
Hmm.
as a teenager and early 20s because I was ignoring the fact that I didn't feel good. And I was like, well, if I just work hard enough, it'll go away.
And then that backfired.
Yeah, doesn't work that way.
What do you hope listeners can take away from your story?
I just want to show people that there are other people out there like them that go through the exact same things as them. And that, yeah, like just again, I feel like when I first started getting sick, I started watching a lot of influencers with the same condition as me, and that made me feel tons better,
Hmm.
made me feel like I wasn't crazy. And I think people look at it as like an abnormal thing going on in your body. And it's like, no, like this is a normal part of the human experience.
And it's becoming a lot more
Yeah.
saturated, it feels like. There's a lot more people getting sick. And I, it's kind of interesting how post-COVID, a lot more people are becoming sick. Obviously, long COVID's a thing, but it
Yeah.
is really interesting, like the pivotal moment for people feeling a lot
Hmm.
worse.
Yeah. Or like I meet a lot of people who like, oh, I just feel sick every day. I feel so fatigued. Like after COVID, I don't have brain fog. And I'm like, I think it's a lot more
Interesting.
common than we think.
It is. I think, I don't even know the statistic, but it feels like one in like three people at this
I know
point.
it seems like it's everybody. And I never
Yeah.
had COVID.
Me
Okay.
either.
So I'm not long COVID that I know of.
Right. Right. I never had a confirmed case. But we don't know because COVID
Yeah.
was so all over the place with symptomatic, not symptomatic. Who knows?
I just feel like a lot of people are pre-chronically ill. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like I meet people, I'm like, ooh, that symptom is not normal for you. Like, that's indicative of something more.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously there's a lot of hurdles within our healthcare system to properly get people diagnosed and to properly get people healthcare in
Yeah,
order to see a damn doctor, which is a whole
right.
nother
Like lack
problem.
of health
But
care, yeah, lack of access to good health care.
yeah, it's absolutely insane. Here we are. This is the reality. I won't keep you any longer. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your journey and experiences and knowledge and your perspective living with chronic illness. I can't wait for more people to check out your content and your page because I love your
Thank
shit.
you. Thank you so much for having me on here.
Oh my
This
God,
was
of
this
course.
was so fun.
Yes, we can do it again. And if you ever
Absolutely.
come to Nashville, please let me know. And
I
if I'm
will.
ever up your way, I will. I'm not often, but I'll let you know. We can
Sounds
have a little
great.
hang.
Absolutely.
Thanks for listening to another episode. Make sure you follow Alli Rose 819 on TikTok and Instagram. I will link everything below and make sure you're hitting that little bell to know when the next episode is and follow along on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. And we will catch you next time.